There are many ways to look for jobs. You might search the want ads, make endless phone calls to prospective employers, and send out numerous resumes, all in hopes of finding a job opening. These job search methods, while tried and true, are time-consuming and often have disappointing results. As an alternative to the traditional job search, employers all over the country are coming together at job fairs to find you. That's right, they're marketing themselves to you, the employee. Employers from virtually every industry participate in job fairs to try and entice you to come work for their company. Why, you may ask? Because job fairs offer a cost-effective and convenient way for employers to contact a large number of candidates in a relatively short time. Think of it as shopping for a new job. Job fairs are a good addition to your search for employment. Instead of pounding the pavement, making phone calls, or answering want ads, you go to one place where several employers are ready and willing to talk to you. Hundreds of recruiters can attend job fairs looking for new workers to join their organizations. This is a much more productive way of finding a job for both you and the employer.
Really what a job fair amounts to is a gathering of companies that literally are there to recruit personnel for their companies themselves. The people that are actually there from the company are, generally speaking, recruiters and/or human resource people.
Job fairs are important for them to get to know the employer and to be able to start using those skills of trying to, again, integrate back into the community.
This gives them a new, innovative, creative approach to doing hiring versus that of the traditional method, which would be either A, getting in contact with people on a personal basis, or advertising in the classifieds.
And it helps them to know what jobs are open and then what skills they need to have so that when they do make application or do apply, that they're making a good effort to get in. In other words, they're not just wasting the employer's time or their time by filling out applications that won't go anywhere.
And this job fair was an opportunity for us to get to meet people who are looking for jobs, serious about employment. We're serious about hiring people, and so we felt this was a really good opportunity to put the two of us together. The caliber of person that comes to a job fair versus people who just go through want ads week after week, you'll get more professional-minded people coming to a job fair than you do just answering ads in the paper. We came prepared to interview and hire people today on the spot.
I think it's kind of nice to actually be able to see the person face to face right in the beginning, to see how they present themselves in the very first. So that's kind of nice. Where through a newspaper, and they get to see a little bit about the company, where you're not going to get that through a newspaper. So,
job fairs are an excellent way to find a new job. Usually, there's a wide variety of industries represented. You may find companies looking for clerical workers, sales staff, or engineers. Some job fairs are strictly related to certain industries, such as healthcare or technology. You'll want to check this out before you attend to make sure you're interested in the field being represented. Another point to keep in mind is that just because a company at the job fair is, for example, a pizza company, don't make the mistake of thinking that they're only hiring pizza makers or delivery people. In reality, they may be looking for computer programmers or data entry people. It's good advice to visit every booth that interests you and ask what their requirements are and what their needs are. You can't always judge a booth by its cover. Now that you've got the overview of what job fairs are all about, let's get down to some strategies to make yourself a successful candidate for these companies.
People coming to the fair should expect to come to interview for a job and come to sell themselves. We're here as a company trying to sell our employment to the prospective employee. The employees or prospective employees should come trying to sell themselves to the companies that they want to work for.
Well, one of the things I try to encourage you guys is don't take things personally. In other words, if a person kind of hesitates at the fact, like I said, yeah, I've been incarcerated, they've got an image of what they think an incarcerated person is. And they're reacting to an image or a thought. They're not reacting to you because they don't know you from anybody. And the thing is you need to not take it personal at that point, but then try again as you're working on it, is you need to be positive about yourself and about what you're going to do and what you've done, if you've done things to correct that. And if you can it's a matter of convincing people that you've changed. You're not the same person they locked up however many months, years ago it was. They need to put their best foot forward. They need to get up. Yeah, they need to shave and cleaned up and look presentable. They don't have to wear a suit and tie particularly. but they do need to look presentable. They need to be something that then when the employer sees you, he's not going to stop short and say, well, who's this guy and why would I want to talk to him?
The worst example I've seen probably today would be somebody with holey jeans and a grubby t-shirt, ball cap on backwards, things like that.
Or if they got tattoos all the way up their arm, you might want to think about wearing a long sleeve shirt or something to keep people from having an adverse reaction without being able to see who you really are. If you're going into retail sales or something like that, well, you're going to have to be sharper dressed than if you were going to go in and talk to a construction company or to a roofing company. Yeah, they'll want you to look neat and presentable at this time, but they also understand that you don't need a suit to work for us.
Let's go from the employer's set. He can talk to somebody and in 3 minutes has somewhat of an idea as to whether or not he is physically happy with this individual from what he sees in those 3 minutes. In other words, whether or not the person can communicate back and forth. Is this person somebody that feels the right anxiety as far as doing this particular job? A very, very short, I call it a 3 to 5 minute interview. You've got somewhat of an idea what this person is like versus that of looking at a resume, which many times can be very, very misleading. In other words, the person may have the qualification skills, but may not have any communication skills. Or just the opposite, may be a very poor communicator and yet have all the skills necessary. So it's really a good thing for both employer and future employee. One of the reasons that we strongly recommend that people dress for success, but prepare yourself to be hired on the spot. Try to keep that in mind. That's what you should do. That's the attitude. That's what we're looking for. That's what these companies are looking for.
Your next tip for success is to plan ahead so your job fair visit will be worthwhile. It's to your advantage to research the participating companies in advance. Call the job fair organizers or sponsors and ask for a list of the companies that will be participating in the upcoming job fair. From that list, begin to research 8 to 10 companies that may be of particular interest to you. Your local library has a wealth of information. Ask the librarian to help you look up useful information on a company you're interested in. Another source of information is the World Wide Web. Most companies now have web pages that describe their organizations in great detail. Some even have employment opportunities posted. Many people directly contact the company for information. By phoning the company, you'll be able to obtain company literature or ask a particular question that you may have in mind. Find out the company's products and services, its size, its philosophy. This effort will pay off by making a good impression when you meet the company recruiter at the job fair. It shows that you're informed and want to be successful. It will also put you one step above other candidates.
Another great thing that we find so many people not doing is not investigating the companies that they can easily get either on a website, the internet, look it up in the library. If it's a big company, they've got all kinds of history on them. Find out a little bit more about the company, make yourself a little bit better, let's call it a student when you come on in. It makes you look better.
Another tip for job fair success is to review your resume. Make sure it's in tip-top form. Your resume is your calling card. It should be neatly laser copied on good quality paper. Be certain that it accurately represents your skills and abilities in a professional and concise way. If it doesn't, revise it before you visit the job fair.
But what we would really recommend is that they write a functional type resume, not a chronological one. Chronological meaning my last job was and I did this and that thing. Those are kind of like an obituary. It's what you've done. It doesn't tell the employer what you're going to do. And so therefore what we are encouraging the fellows in here to do is to write functional job resumes, which basically sell skills. And that way you emphasize your skills and your objective of what job you want and your education. And then the last thing we mention is your employment history. And then we even try to help with that by if they've been incarcerated and they are not working, they can still put down that they were going to school, or they were getting substance abuse treatment, or they were doing something positive in their lives to change their lives. And that's good for an employer. The employer says, okay, well, all right, I realize you've been locked up, but at least you didn't sit idle, you didn't do anything. And we can see that you've been making efforts to improve yourself, and they've been educational efforts or whatever, and those are skill efforts that you're still using?
Take more resumes than you think you might need. If you think you'll need 25 resumes, take 35. Better safe than sorry. You don't want to run out of resumes at a job fair.
The career fairs that we generally put on are cost-free, but one thing that we do is we get a resume from people, because with that particular resume, what we do is we put it on our website and we make it downloadable to all the companies that are at the career fair that day. What happens because of that is that the individual that's coming to the career fair literally has the opportunity to get themselves in front of 50 companies like we have today without interviewing with every single individual company.
Just, dress nice and bring a resume. I think definitely bring a resume.
Definitely be prepared. You might want to, if there's a certain company that you're very interested in, doing some background research on that company, and then come to them and tell them, oh, I'm familiar with this or I'm familiar with that, and that really a first impression is a lasting impression.
Now you need to think about what you're going to say when you meet a recruiter at the job fair. It will help to prepare a 1-minute commercial about yourself. This could include your strong points, your skills and your goals, your particular interest in the company, or where you want to go within the company. This statement basically introduces you and links your skills or interests to the company. Practice this in front of a mirror or with a friend until you feel comfortable and your tone is conversational. This brief introductory statement about yourself could sound something like this. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Blank. My name is John Doe. I'm interested in XYZ Corporation because of your strong reputation for customer service. I have 3 years of customer service experience plus a degree in marketing. I'm a proven team leader and have a record of successful job performance. Today, I'd like to learn a little more about XYZ and its employment opportunities. You will, of course, modify your statement for each company you introduce yourself to, but the concept is the same. Link yourself and your skills to the company's needs.
Employers these days can write, or on a website can get criminal history checks very easily, and most employers as a standard are doing that, and just not because you're coming out of prison, they're just doing it for everybody as a general population. They're running such checks as drug screens, they're running criminal background, they're driving records, and some of them are even getting to the point where they're running credit checks. And so these are standard practices that are happening in business, and we try to tell these guys to, you need to be open about it and honest about it. Sometimes they get discouraged. Again, it's that attitude that they have that the public doesn't want to hire them, or that they get the opinion from employers, well, we won't hire any felon. Well, there's a difference between felons. I mean, there's some of them are real minor in terms of their risk factor in terms of injury or anything else. I mean, they made a mistake. They've served their time, and they've hopefully have used that time, again, was by putting those classes or some of those things they've done, if they went through anger control or if they went through substance abuse or that they've tried to change that problem. But yeah, we try to encourage them to be as positive about themselves, and that's who they're trying to get the employer to hire, and what I can do for you. Not what I've done. Yeah, I made a mistake, but I've tried to change that.
Really, to keep an open mind. Visit as many booths as they can. Use it as kind of a, for lack of a better word, kind of a history-making event for yourself. You're going to become more familiar with interviewers' questions. What are these people asking? Do I have the right qualifications? What do I want to do? I can't tell you how many countless people come to these haven't a clue what they want to do. They're looking for some type of a spiritual thing when they get here. Analyze your skills. Come in here, what am I good at? Okay, now what company needs those type of skills? Try to put a round peg in a round hole type of scenario.
They need to start thinking goal-oriented as to where they're going, what they want to achieve, where they want to be. And that's hard for some people to think, well, I need a job. Well, yeah, you do, but is that the end result? I mean, is that the end of it? No, you want more than that. And so you need to look farther. Maybe they've been thinking they want to go into be a CNC operator where they're running machinery. Well, do they really understand what that takes or what that means or what other kind of training they may have to get to do that? Because sometimes, like most people, we get an idea of what we want to do, but we haven't really researched it and know what it really entails or what it takes qualification-wise to do that job. And so it's a way of then being able to check yourself and say, well, I need to get these things, and then going back and then finding those sources where you can obtain that.
Here are some additional strategies for making the most of your job fair visit. Arrive early. Plan on extra time for checking in. Network. If you have to wait in line, talk to others. You might hear of job openings that may be of interest to you. Be enthusiastic, smile, and show an interest in the company. Pick up business cards so you can send thank you notes to people who've interviewed you. Be professional. Shake hands and introduce yourself to recruiters when you reach the table. Be prepared to answer questions about yourself. These will be typical interview questions like, tell me about yourself. What are your skills? What are your goals? What can you offer my company? Job fairs can be an excellent way of finding a new position. They can also be a way of finding out what's new in your field.
I think job fairs definitely should play a role in how you go about finding a new position. Most of the people at job fairs from corporations are going to be the people responsible for, if not hiring, at least doing the individual screening. And I think job fairs will give you exposure to many different companies in different industries, and it may be a job fair for companies in the same industry, but that it allows you to be able to do some comparison shopping to, again, know what's out there, know what salary ranges people are paying across the board, know what types of benefits packages people are offering their new employees. So I think job fairs should definitely be a part of your job seeking strategy. On top of that, it also allows you the opportunity to network. There may be a company you have no interest in ever working for, but if you can get your foot in the door and meet with that recruiter, they may know a recruiter at the company you are interested in working for. So networking is something that I will get on my soapbox and preach about all day long, and I think job fairs offers you a good way to do that. You can collect as many business cards as you want. I would also recommend that you even have some business cards of your own made. You may not actually be an employee, you may not actually have your own company, but it may cost you $15-20 to go down to Kinko's to have some business cards made that you can actually pass out to recruiters as well.
Get the interviewer's name. Even though it was just kind of a casual, brief, maybe interview kind of thing. But if he took time to talk to you or whatever, we always encourage them then to send back a thank you note or a thank you letter to the company. And this guy has probably seen 100, 200 people during the course of a day, and chances that he maybe really will remember you, if you don't prompt him, would be maybe slim. So if you send a little thank you note back and say, we enjoyed talking to you and you were helpful, or whatever the case might be, or you had told me to contact you again after this, and so I'm just dropping you a note and let you know that I'll be contacting you again on this date or something. So you keep prompting people, let them know that you're really interested in that.
Job fairs are an excellent way for you to find a new job in less time than traditional job search methods provide. Job fairs also allow you to connect with many more employers than before.
Because the traditional way of hiring people is starting to go away, or the future employee is actually becoming a lot more savvy in regards to what his or her skills are and trying to match those skills with an employee.
The world of work is changing. Now the way we find work is changing too. Make the most of this opportunity by using the tips we've offered to make your job fair visit successful.